Yes, I know, some may consider this over, but I was already halfway through this video when this came out, so... We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Alright guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat this, I'm just going to be straightforward with it, because I want to be upfront and honest with everybody. I don't want to just hide behind a wall and just let, everything else happen and unfold by itself. I want at least my fans to understand why I did this and why I did what I did. So I'm not going to make a whole video on it because I feel like that's just giving her what she wants, which is attention. But
I'm not going to make a video talking about her. Then you go ahead and make a video talking about her. Dude, what the fuck?
But a YouTuber did make a video about one of my videos, and she basically just ripped it apart. It's very stupid. She calls it constructive criticism, which is stupid because she provided no criticism in the video. All she did was talk about how stupid my points were.
No criticism, you say? Then excuse me, sir, what the fuck is this?
Not only is this a risk of a copyright strike, which I personally would be really happy to go without, but what does this add to the video? Spoiler alert, not much. So you don't even know what it is the fuck you're talking about. You haven't watched these shows, yet you think they're crap. But you're implying kids nowadays don't do that, especially in the cases of Steven Universe, Gravity Falls, and maybe even Star vs. the Forces of Evil. You're implying kids don't have any ambitious imaginations to put themselves in that position. And I can give you one huge, solid piece of evidence that puts this whole implication on faulty ground. Frozen. Do you remember all the kids being dressed up as Elsa? The children's baseball team who wanted their uniforms to be Elsa dresses? Kids were obsessed with this movie. You cannot tell me kids still don't have dreams of being placed in these worlds. And you're an idiot if you think otherwise.
And basically all her fans came to my video and disliked it and commented negative things on the video, so I disabled likes and comments on the video. And I asked her nicely to take down the video because she was using my content without my permission, and it was not constructive. It was deforming or was devaluing my content. So I asked her politely to take down the video. And
why should she take her video down? Because your fifis got hurt? Really? And no, because the video falls under fair use, she can keep her video up due to the fact that she is criticizing your content. She doesn't need your permission to criticize your videos.
I still received a horde of disrespectful and just negative comments from her fans, and I still am right now. I'm still blocking people on Twitter just because I'm getting such a horde of comments. Which
horde, you say? Well, given the fact you give no examples, say word from mouth, and Doodles herself posted your comment section before you disabled it, I have very little reason to believe you. And even if you were being harassed, how is this Doodles' fault, since you seem to be pinning it on her on your Twitter? It's not like she has a disclaimer or anything. Oh, wait.
Because evidently this needs to be said, I do not want you guys to go to today's Target for the purposes of giving them a hard time. Please do not pester these people at all. Thank you.
Which is absolutely disgusting, even though she says, quote, she's not a hate channel. She included my video, the link to the video is the first thing in her description, which basically is just encouraging people to go dislike my video and, just spread hate to it.
Or maybe it's so they can watch your video and give their own thoughts on it? You have such a fucking warped perception of this entire situation. Maybe your video was just crap and people didn't like it. Ever think of that?
So yes, I did file a copyright complaint, and whatever happens, happens. If they take it down, that's, whatever. If they don't take it down, that's also fine. But
Then why make the copyright strike to begin with? You don't care either way, so what is the point? You're just making this situation worse.
I'm going to be hibernating for a couple days. This is why I don't get involved in YouTube drama, because it's stupid. I never knew this person. I have never met this YouTuber in my life. I've never done anything with them, and they just straight up made a video attacking me, stealing my content for no reason whatsoever. It's useless drama, and I'm not going to associate myself with it. I'm not going to deal with it. So if you support me, thank you. I appreciate you, and I'm glad you do. If you don't support me, I understand, but this is the decision I wanted to make, and I wanted to be upfront with my fans and my supporters, because I'm not going to hide behind a wall or whatever. I wanted to be very clear about that. I will add, this is just very frustrating to have to deal with this, especially since my birthday is tomorrow. I turn 21 tomorrow, and it's very stupid that I have to deal with drama like this.
Alright guys, I'm gonna be serious for a moment. Look, Wolfster, this is a shitty situation. I know, long time ago I was commentated on by someone, and it sucked. So in a way I can relate to your situation, but bro, you need to understand, YouTube is basically a public forum. Anything you can or will say will be responded. Doodle didn't make the video to attack you, or to steal your content, or to get money from it. She made it to critique your points about modern day cartoons, and you responded by making a mountain out of a molehill. And that's why I'm making this video. I'm not looking for a fight. I want to help you so you don't end up digging a hole so deep you can't get yourself out of. And with that, I bring my commentary to an end. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And final thoughts? Hope you have a good birthday, Wolfster.
Hey guys, remember when I said I needed to take a break from doing commentaries involving Pokemon? Yeah, I lied.
Next up at number 9, we have the ability Leaf Guard. Now when it comes to this ability, for me personally, it just goes kind of 50-50, but basically what it does is when the sun is up, a Pokemon with Leaf Guard cannot be inflicted with status conditions, so it can't be paralyzed, it can't be burned, or put to sleep, and so on. But if you don't have the move Sunny Day or another Pokemon with Drought, the ability just becomes completely useless. And even if you do have Sunny Day, why would you go for it instead of going for another move that will make your Pokemon's stats more powerful? In my opinion, Leaf Guard just seems more of a handicap than a benefit to the Pokemon, leaving it at number 9 just because of its effect in the sun.
Okay, so gotta ask, do you not know that weather teams are a thing? I mean, think about it, a Pokemon with the Leaf Guard ability would be perfect on a sunny day team because it wouldn't be crippled by status inflictments. You also say that Leaf Guard is bad because it only works in sunny weather, but there are a ton of abilities that rely on weather for them to work, but I don't see you bitching about them. Then we get to the bit where you mention how using Sunny Day would be useless because you could take that time to use a different move to power up your Pokemon. Here's an idea then, just use a Pokemon on your team that has the ability Drought. Mega Charizard Y is a great example of being a Sun Summoner for a weather team.
Now this ability is only available for 3 Pokemon, but number 8 is Traunt. Basically, this ability lets the Pokemon Slack Off, Slacking, and Durant attack every other turn. And yes, I said Durant, it's its hidden ability, but do you know what can happen in those every other turn? You can just kill the Pokemon, you can set up, you can heal, you can do anything, and it will like be loafing around. So in a nutshell, this ability just sucks and make fighting Norman Slacking much easier even when at a low level.
Now, I'll agree with you about Durant, because Swarm and Hustle are far better abilities for that Pokemon. But you do realize there's a reason why Slacking was given the ability Traunt, right? It was because of its stats. Slacking had crazy good stats. Its stats made it stronger than the pseudo-legendary Pokemon, and it was basically as strong as Groudon and Kyogre. So Game Freak thought the best way to balance out Slacking was give it Traunt as an ability. Now, am I saying Traunt's a good ability? Fuck no. But when you have a Pokemon that's as strong as your legendaries, yeah, you need to nerf that shit. And yeah, sure, Norman was easy because of his slacking, so it's not like there was an item or something that made the game super easy and it was a problem throughout all of Gen 6 and just made everything a cakewalk or anything. Hint, hint.
Speaking of being useless, number 6 is the ability Plus and Minus. Yes, we're gonna share those two because they work the same way in a sense. Now, if a Pokemon has the ability Plus, he powers up the special attack of a Pokemon that has the Minus ability and the other way around. So that means that it only works in double battles. You're probably gonna need 2 electric types because they're the only types that can have this ability. And let's just take a moment to realize that most of the game are in single battles. So in a nutshell, the ability sucks unless you're willing to capture 2 electric types with those abilities for just a couple of double battles.
So, are we going to forget that the Battle Frontier and the Battle Tree are a thing, even though you can have an infinite amount of double battles there? Hell, you can even just go online and just have a double battle there. This argument that these abilities suck because there's a lack of double battles is retarded, because there are tons of double battles that you can use these abilities in.
The next ability is so weird and I honestly wonder why it even exists. Number 3 today we have the ability Klutz. Now Klutz is a weird one because it makes the Pokemon with the ability unable to use items. Yeah. Why? Most items are really helpful to Pokemon and can boost their stats or HP, but having Klutz as a whole just prevents that and takes it away. I don't have anything else to say about it other than it really sucks, and I honestly really wonder what benefits it even has.
See, this is where you need to be a little bit more creative. Sure, Klutz sounds bad at first, but then you need to consider the interesting strategy that you can create with this ability. First example, let's say you give said Pokemon a Toxic or Flame Ward and have it use Switcheroo, and with that, the enemy Pokemon gets Toxic or Burned, and you now have their item. Another example is that you could teach a thief so it can just steal items. I fail to see how this is a bad ability when any trainer worth their salt can use these abilities to their advantage. I'm not saying Clutch is this amazing ability, but the way Relic is presenting it makes it look like it has no redeeming qualities whatsoever, when that is not the case.
The last ability on this list, and the worst one in my opinion, is exclusive to one Pokemon only, being Darmanitan, and his hidden ability, Zen Mode. Now, Zen Mode can be cool because it relates to the region, being at the entrance of the Relic Castle, and gaining the Psychic type. Okay, that's just you. But it's just terribly awful because when Darmanitan's HP drops below half, it goes into Zen Mode, and you're just stuck in battle with a statue that can't even attack.
What?
So in a nutshell, you're better off just giving it sheer force because you're gonna be kept with a statue that's completely useless.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Until the battle ends, and it doesn't even do anything, unlike Archeops. So that's why Zen Mode takes number 1 as the worst ability out there.
Okay, massive fucking problem here. You do realize even in Zen Mode, Darmanitan can still attack, right? All Zen Mode does is turn it into a fire psychic type and changes Darmanitan's stats. Which makes me ask, how the fuck did you miss this, and where did you get this idea that it can't attack in Zen Mode? This hardly makes Darmanitan in Zen Mode useless because it can still pull its weight. And with that, the video comes to an end. Now, I'll be honest, the points that I didn't cover, I thought Relic actually did a good job of presenting his argument on why they were bad, which is quite unfortunate for the parts I covered. These were so shit.
So, a multi-degree commentary, eh? This'll be fun. Provided I don't fuck up. Now, the multi-degree commentary I'm covering is a little video by Water of Madness, aka Flame of Insanity's oddly titled Duel Commentary. Seriously, are you using duel as in fight or duel as in two? Nitpicks aside, this is how this multi-degree fuckfest is gonna go down. Nextcape will be commentating on Anita, Waters will be commentating on both of them, and I'll be commentating on Waters of Madness as Sai, because Sai is best girl. And if you don't agree with that, I'll say you're wrong in the comments. Take that.
Jason escapes and encounters a group of island natives called the Rakyat, who enlist his help to rid their island of the pirates.
Now, I haven't played Far Cry 4, but it sounds like these natives are the good guys. So, aren't they putting diversity in the game? They're having non-white people native to the region who are both good and bad.
Actually, I'm not thinking that either of these two are portrayed as the good guy in the game, sensing that the way of getting rid of the pirates is basically eradicating them. And the tribal leader at the end of the game, by the way, spoilers, stabbed you. Stabbed you. Yeah. Neither of them are portrayed as the good guys. In fact, calling your main protagonist the main protagonist would probably be a stretch of the word, something that everyone's here doing this for their own personal gains.
Oh my god, there's so much wrong with this. Let's go by this one by one, shall we? The tribals known as the Rakyat shouldn't be called the good guys because they get rid of the pirates by quote-unquote eradicating them. Sure, let's ignore the fact the pirates were kidnapping the natives of the island, running a slave trade, were drug trafficking, and raping, murdering, stealing, and pillaging almost everyone and everything. You don't think maybe the Rakyat were in the right by destroying them? Yes, they do have ulterior motives, but the fact they are trying to destroy a chaotic organization that causes nothing but destruction and misery from their lands kind of makes them sound more just, does it not? Calling the main protagonist is a stretch of the word because everyone is doing something for their own personal gains. Okay, fucking... Waters, fucking listen. Ever heard of a thing called motivation? Motivation, the reason or reasons one has for acting or behaving in a particular way. Doesn't personal gain sound like a good motivation for a protagonist? And who are you even referring to here? Who's doing this for personal gain? Are you talking about Jason? Because that can't be the case, because he's doing this because his friends were captured by the pirates and he wants to save them. The Rakyat? I mean, they're doing this because they want to rid their lands of the pirate to liberate their islands. So who are we even talking about?
Who's viewed among her people as a warrior goddess. Under her guidance, Jason's adventure rapidly becomes an absurd hodgepodge of racist stereotypes about tribal cultures and brown women. At one point, Citra gives Jason a hallucination-inducing drink which leads him into battle with an imagined giant. After he defeats the monster, he's rewarded with a topless Citra, telling him that he's now part of the tribe.
You are Rakyat.
Citra's strange mystical powers return later in the game when she blows a glowing dust into Jason's face.
I'm sorry, magic glowing dust? Oh, you know, that could be a grind of the natural plants that have been put into factories as hallucinogenic drugs. Yes, there's a gigantic factory in Far Cry 3 filled with grinds of these plants. Yeah, magic dust my behind.
Oh, Jesus Christ, who cares? Sure, you're right, it's not magic dust, but this little line you decide to comment on is of such little importance. What does this have to do with anything Anita is trying to talk about? Honestly, this is a nitpick, if anything.
Okay, there's a sex scene in the game, so what? You say that it's a reward for making the right choice in the game. It's a reward for the presumably straight white male player, but whatever. Ignoring that last part there. How would you rather them do it? How would you rather them make your choices in the game affect your romance outcome or your sexual outcome in the story? Because it seems like no matter what you do, you can't win with you. You can't win. Because no matter what you do in any sort of game that has multiple choices in it, where the player's choices matter, and there is a sex scene, then it's automatically wrong. It's automatically sexist. Well, how would you rather them do it then? How would you rather them tell a story where your choices matter and have it not be a reward, a sexual reward for the player? How would you rather them do that? By your logic, pretty much any visual novel that exists is sexist. Any video game with romance options is sexist. The only way, by your own logic, to make a game that has romance in it and is not sexist is to make it 100% linear. To make it so that no matter what happens, the ending is always the same. Or there's always a sex scene in this particular part, no matter what you do in the game. This is always going to happen. It's a stationary event. But if that's going to be the case, why not just make a movie? Why not write a book? Video games are about interactivity. Video games are about having choices. Yet by having those choices, it's sexist. It's wrong, according to you, because it's rewarding the player for making the right choice. So even a game that is generally praised for being very good at how it handles diversity, like the Mass Effect series, now it's sexist because even though the characters are really well fleshed out, even though they're very well written, have these really long story arcs, it doesn't matter because if you make the right choices, you can choose to have sex with the character in the game. So now that's automatically wrong. It's automatically sexist because the player is making choices, and those choices lead to a reward in your eyes.
But there's something...
Actually, no, that probably wouldn't exactly help anything. In fact, I'm thinking that might be worse in her eyes, because it's over-sexualizing a character with absolutely no input from the player. Congratulations, champ, you made it this far in the game. Now here's some porn.
Thank you! Completely useless input. Waters, do you not realize that is exactly what Netscape is saying? That yes, a video game being completely linear is bad because video games are supposed to be interactive and let you have choices. How did you miss this?
Over the balance of the Triforce. When the evil Ganondorf drives the light from the sorceress's soul, she splits into two, with her virtuous half becoming Lana, who, like the similarly righteous Link and Zelda, is fair-skinned. Meanwhile, her evil half becomes the darker-skinned Sia, who casts dark magic, wears an extremely sexualized outfit, and whose body is adorned with markings reminiscent of tribal body paint. These differences between Lana and Sia, two halves of the same being, directly link the color of their skin to their goodness and virtue, falsely suggesting that a lighter skin tone reflects a purer, more noble spirit. In reality, lighter-skinned women of color are often depicted as more desirable and more virtuous because they come closer to meeting the culturally dominant white beauty standards. This insidious notion that a darker skin tone reflects a less moral or virtuous soul is hardly new to the Zelda franchise, in which the heroic and noble characters like Link and Zelda are fair-skinned, while the recurring villain Ganondorf is associated with the darker-skinned Gerudo people.
Remember that? I will always remember that. In fact, that is in Hyrule Warriors, an extremely light-skinned character in a Zelda game. He's an extremely light-skinned villain alongside, I would say, Girahim, but in the end, looking at a second form, he would probably be sent to darker-skinned. But in the end, though, either way, that does not exactly count as an exception, nor does Girahim, because they are both in Hyrule Warriors, a game which you point to for evidence. I'm sorry. What?
I mean, I guess, but from what I've seen, the Twilight is supposed to be depicted with a light blue/grayish skin. Maybe this is just me, but I feel this argument's a bit weak. You know who would have been a better example? Impa. She would fit better. I mean, she has dark skin, tribal markings, but oh, she's on the good side, so it's clearly not a race thing. I mean, sure, she's different in other Zelda games, but we're focusing on Hyrule Warriors.
All these stereotypes are anything but harmless. Here in the United States, racist images and stereotypes of black women have been doing tremendous harm for centuries. In fact, false ideas about black women as inherently hypersexual beings were perpetuated in Southern slaveholding society. This was a time when oppressive Victorian ideas still held sway, creating a false sense of womanhood as inherently domestic, submissive, chaste, innocent, and modest. But the reality of black women's lives as slaves was irreconcilable with these notions. Not only were female slaves, of course, denied any and all basic rights as people, they were also often forced to be naked when on display at auctions, were regularly whipped in partial or total nudity as punishment, and were frequently sexually assaulted and raped by their owners.
Except for male slaves were treated the exact same way, whipped in partial or near entire nudity, because they were punished. And they were nude in auctions to show their worth. Male or female, they were obviously not still treated like culture. The one in the middle is sticking an obvious. What the fuck?
Yeah, so apparently Waters here re-edited his video by adding new commentary, but forgot to mute the old dialogue. Now this wouldn't be that big a deal. I mean, we all make little editing mistakes here and there, but the problem is that editing issues continue throughout the rest of the video. Which is a shame because Waters was actually making a somewhat decent point, but was now ruined due to his editing, which I must ask, Waters, do you not check your own videos before uploading them? Cause this here...
Today.
This is a major fucking problem! The only thing left in his video now are his final thoughts, so might as well cover that.
The only thing that I can say about both of these content creators is to show evidence.
Ironically coming from the guy who never showed evidence minus the nitpick one, and fuck you if I have to acknowledge that.
And especially you and Ada, show better evidence. Because I'm pretty sure that an alternate costume in a video game that is completely optional does not count as any sort of basic evidence on any sort of a scale.
And what exactly are you referring to here? Are you referring to a piece in your commentary that got cut? Doesn't matter. He ends the video with a shitty pun and that's it. Final thoughts? Why was this a video on Netscape? You may as well have just commentated on Anita's videos. You seem to cover her far more times versus the 2 shit points you made on Netscape. And again, I highly suggest you check your videos before uploading so that you don't make another editing mess like you did this video.
Really, Nintendo and Pokemon? A sword which evolves into 2 swords, and they couldn't even be asked to name it properly. Do Blade. That's just double and blade merged into one word. What even is this?
I mean, is it really all that different from what they did with the Magnemite line and the Coffee line? Oh my gosh, this thing became 2 or 3 things. And if we're going to complain about names, why not mention Ekans or Arbok? They're literally just Snake and Cobra spelled backwards. Something tells me you're one of those Gen 1 fags, aren't ya?
No, but in all seriousness, guys, I love Pokemon, but I just feel like they're getting lazier and lazier as time goes on.
How so? I mean, are we talking designs? Are we talking Pokemon in general? Are we talking about plot? I don't know, because this asshat never delves deeper into why the Pokemon company is lazy.
So we're going to talk about some of the Pokemon from all of the generations.
Keep this in mind, because this is going to bite them in the ass later.
So the first Pokemon I have on my list today is the fucking lamps. Yes, that is right. The candle, the lamp, then the chandelier. All like, why? There's so much you could do. Like, they were literally sitting in that boardroom looking around the room like, not a window. I have it. I've got the perfect idea. Let's make that light bulb right above our heads into a Pokemon.
Well, why not? Most ghost types have shown to be possessed items, so does the possessed Chandelier seem that far-fetched? Fuck you, I'm funny.
Fuck it. This Pokemon that I'm about to show you is actually their best invention. Because what kid does not want to play as a pile of rubbish? Oh, but don't worry, your kid can evolve the pile of rubbish and turn it into an even bigger pile of rubbish with arms.
Doesn't sound so different from Grimer and Muck, who's a slime monster who becomes an even bigger slime monster. You said you were going to cover all regions, yet neither Grimer or Muck are on this list of yours.
Right, Nintendo, give me back my money. Okay guys, so we're gonna move on to number 3, which is the keychain, one of their best inventions. Okay, so they made a set of keys. It's pretty self-explanatory, but he must have like forgot his keys in the car or some shit.
What? Were you expecting an actual point? No. Fuck you. You don't get any explanations. And that's one of the biggest problems with this video. You give incredibly vague points and you go by them so quickly, it's hard to understand what your argument is.
Alright, the next Pokemon is just weird. The mummy coughing ghost 4-armed thing called Cofarigus.
Cofarigus, holy fuck, this shouldn't be that hard to say.
By this point of reading out all the Pokemon that I'm seeing, I'm just thinking, like, I'm scared for the future of Pokemon. Like, this one right here just reminds you that you are playing Pokemon.
Same could be said about Electrode and Voltorb, yet neither of them are on the list.
Rotom isn't actually a bad Pokemon,
but was still able to make it onto this crappy list anyway. Sorry about that, Rotom.
I don't mind it, and those of you who know who Rotom is know what's coming. So he doesn't evolve, he's supposed to be a legendary.
No, god damn it, no, he's fucking not. And that just shows all the credibility this video has, doesn't it?
But, I mean, what kid doesn't want to turn into all 5 of his different forms that he obtains? So we've got the washing machine, the fridge, the microwave, the lawnmower, and the electric fan.
That doesn't sound like a complaint or explain why he's on this list, but what the fuck do I know? And after that, the video comes to an end. To be blunt, this was a pretty shitty list. Do I really need to repeat myself on his vague points and how he was going to talk about all generations and only cover 4? Final thoughts? Fucking Pokemon Generations came out today, man. Why the fuck are you watching this shit?
The new Star Wars movie's coming out. I've seen some of the trailers and it looks awesome. Seeing how the new aliens look, they look awesome too. Though, while looking for some stuff about Star Wars, I came across this little video talking about the new aliens, and, well, I decided to do a little commentary on it. Without further ado, let's begin.
Hey guys, Vindicus here. Star Wars Episode 7 Aliens. What's going on? Seriously. So far we have seen photos of Episode 7 showing aliens that are brand new to the universe that we haven't seen before.
Adding new aliens to the franchise? Holy shit, it's not like they've done this before, right?
None of them look like they belong in Star Wars. I mean, it's worrying me because we're not seeing anything from the original trilogy. At all.
Hi, Chewbacca.
Now look at this photo of an alien from Star Wars Episode 7. It's a puppet. I remember this guy. I think I've seen him in, you know, The Dark Crystal. Yeah, he looks a lot like the guys from The Dark Crystal.
How do they look alike? I mean, besides from both looking old, that's the only thing they have in common. As you can clearly see, this one has extra limbs and looks like a wise old sage. Ironically, what the majority of this guy's race is, while the other looks like a merchant and looks more like a llama. See, he has the eyes and the snout for it as well. I even showed 3 other people pics of both creatures, and they also said they don't look alike, minus both being old. I'm going to be skipping ahead, for all he does is show another pic of some new aliens and just repeats how they don't look like Star Wars aliens, which again he doesn't explain as to why.
Oh, I also remember this guy. He was from The Dark Crystal too. Yep. He was the little podlings, I remember that. Good to see them bringing Dark Crystal characters into Star Wars where they belong.
How do they look alike? I mean, seriously, look at this guy and then look at that guy. Look at this guy and look at that guy. How do they look alike? Fuck all if I know, because he doesn't explain it. And again, I'm going to be skipping because he just keeps repeating himself. Though I want you guys to take a look at this clip in his video.
But none of these guys look like they belong in Star Wars, just saying.
Now I'm going to hold on to this.
I mean, look at this picture from Episode 4, Cantina.
Vindicus, you do realize that's from the holiday special, right? Don't believe me, watch this.
Friend, don't forget me in your dreams. Just one more song, friend, and then so long, friend. The nights get shorter, it seems.
And look at this picture from Episode 7. Some kind of weird party or something. Like, how can you compare these two? They don't look anything alike. None of these aliens look like they belong in Star Wars, except for a few.
Except for a few. I thought earlier you said...
But none of these guys look like they belong in Star Wars, just saying.
And that's one of the problems with this video. If you haven't noticed by now, he's clearly doing this unscripted. To the ers and the ahs, to the complete contradictions. Next time, you may want to use a script.
What are they doing? What are they doing? No!
Dude, seriously? They're just new aliens for the Star Wars movie. This isn't something to throw a bitch fit about.
I'm not trying to make a hate video towards Episode 7. I'm excited about Episode 7. I actually have high hopes for Episode 7. I actually think that Episode 7 will be a great film. As long as they don't go the route of the Avengers. Disney.
What, be successful? Dude, regardless of what you think, Avengers was a huge hit, what with it being one of the 10 highest grossing movies in the US, not to mention they've made several summer blockbusters.
But it has a high possibility of being a great film. I'm just kind of upset that they're not including Star Wars aliens into it that look like they belong in Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully, though, they'll include the original trilogy aliens, and that was just like a small section of the film. And we'll see original trilogy aliens throughout the entire thing, and that was just a small little portion. And it was only gonna be like a small, tiny scene, which they're background characters, so it's not even that big a deal.
Yet you decided to make a whole video bitching about it. I'm ending the video here because he just repeats himself a bit more and talks about how he's excited for the new Star Wars movie. Saying this video was bad would be obvious. His reasons for not liking the new Star Wars aliens were flimsy, with lack of clarifications. Besides saying that they looked similar to other creatures, which is definitely not the case, and that they didn't look like quote-unquote Star Wars aliens. Star Wars takes place in a universe filled with God knows how many beings within it. I fail to see your problems with expanding said universe with new creatures. Besides, this wouldn't be the first time they've done this. And with that, fellow YouTubers, my commentary comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed it and have a very nice day.
I need a new intro.
Now the reason I'm doing this video because Loudman did a commentary on me, which I found funny, which I did find it funny, but there were a lot of mistakes in that video that had to be addressed. So I, instead of talking about it, I'll talk about the end after I show you the video itself. So get set and get ready for Loudman's video about me. Get ready. And let's go choo choo.
Here's a tip. Use a script next time. The fact that you repeat yourself 3 times show you suck at improvising. Also, I'm going to be skipping to the end of the video because all he does until then is play Loudon's video and makes no points whatsoever. Another thing I'd like to bring up, Gusto, is that you need to stop stealing people's videos. Between this one, where you just play Loudon's video to its full length, and your huge problem within the Pokemon community video, which was taken from Hoodlum Scrafton and Duncan Knee Deep, by the way, these both can be taken down for stealing. Basically, stop that shit!
Okay, and we're back. So, how was the video? It was good. I watched it too. Well, now here's my response to it. Here's my final thoughts. Well, Johnny or Loudman, your video was pretty much amateurish and a bit horrible and amateur at best.
Amateurish? Really? Really? Let me tell you something. Seeing the little amount of effort you put in your videos and to call someone else amateurish is laughable. Take my advice, friend. Don't throw stones when you have a house made of glass.
The 3 things I liked about that was the lesbo thing, the phone joke, and you drinking bleach while I said sparkle sparkle, which is the only thing I like. The rest, more amateurish and more amateuristic and not that great at best.
Explanation? Anything? No? I thought you were going to address the mistakes on this video.
So Loudman, I give you 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10? What the fuck is this, a movie review? I've looked through some of Agosto's videos, and besides finding enough material to fill a cringe compilation, he has never done this before on someone who commentated on him. I don't understand why he's giving a commentary of all things a review score.
For an amateur. Because you're not really the good commentator, you're just an amateur commentator. So, for amateur commentators, here's a 5 out of 10. Thank you. Thank you. This is Augusta Productions and Sparkle, Sparkle.
And with that, the video comes to an end. Final thoughts? I don't know. Sony sucks because Fallout 4 players won't get mods for the PS4.